There is a new sheriff in town and his name is Vivek Ramaswamy, or so it would seem, with GOP supporters who seem to be favoring the newest entry to the Republican presidential candidacy race. In a new poll conducted by Emerson College, Ramaswamy has tied with DeSantis as the second most favored candidate, beating out Mike Pence and right on the heels of Donald Trump. Now, according to the new poll, Ramaswamy, who started his campaign late this February and was only seen to be favored by 2% of surveyed Republican voters by June of this year, has now overtaken former Vice President Mike Pence. While Pence lost 3% of voter support in the past 2 months, Ramaswamy has made a gain of over 8%. This is the steepest rise in Republican voter favor since Emerson started conducting this particular series of surveys. The support for Donald Trump, however, far outpaces the rest of the three hopefuls combined. Sitting at 56% this month, Republican voter support for Trump has not dwindled, staying strong even as the former president remains embattled in multiple indictments. Trump has taken a softer stance with Ramaswamy, a courtesy he has not awarded to the rest of his rivals in the race. Ramaswamy has publicly defended Trump, frequently condemning legal action against the former president. The Republican hopeful has termed his roster of policies to be America First 2.0. In essence, starting from where the previous Republican administration left off. Trump has returned the warmth, publicly praising Ramaswamy while also warning him of a change in the former president's tune. If the race becomes too close for comfort, Ramaswamy has pledged a plethora of sweeping changes in Washington if he gets elected. This includes banning social media for everybody under the age of 16, raising the voting age to 25, trimming off 75% of all executive branch staff members, ending affirmative action policies, and his most notorious promise, shutting down the FBI. Ramaswamy is also a vocal critic of Dr. Anthony Fauci's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, of climate change activism, and what he terms gender ideology. The Republican candidate has, however, drawn public ire for chastising trans kids, arguing that many of those who identify as trans may be dealing with mental health problems. Interestingly, Ramaswamy has opposed a federal abortion ban, a point most Republican candidates have argued in favor of. While Ramaswamy has made significant gains in the recent most polls, it remains to be seen if he can maintain this momentum throughout the campaign. Given the latest data, Republican voters may soon see Ramaswamy stand off against DeSantis. And for more on this, we're now being joined by Mark Merowitz. He's a political commentator, also a professor at State University of New York Maritime College. Mark, welcome to the program, and it's good to see you. Looking at the polls and what Americans are saying, do you think the new sheriff, as he is being called right now, would beat Donald Trump or even Ron DeSantis? Is there a likelihood of that happening?
Well, I think that, polls early in the situation are not definitive, but in terms of the poll that you're looking at with Vivek Ramaswamy, I think it's important to look at that recent poll and understand what it means. So, for example, in that poll, the Emerson College says that 82% of those who supported Trump in the high numbers that you reported on would not change their vote. But 53% of those who supported Ramaswamy might or could change their vote. That's important. Also, there's a margin of error of 3%. What does that mean? Well, if the college poll of Emerson College says 10% each, that could mean 13% for one and 7% for the other. And so therefore, and I also say there are many, many other polls. So in terms of where we are right now, Trump is way ahead of everyone else. And DeSantis, as has been reported, is afraid of Ramaswamy. There was a memo that was released that said And point number 3, you can actually print it out on the web, hammer Ramaswamy in the debate. That's pretty interesting. So there's a lot going on here. And in terms of the points that were raised that you talked about, a lot of Ramaswamy's points or political points are really out there. You know, he's against the Ukraine war. He is against the CDC and the IRS and the FBI. He wants the voting age to be 25, but young voters would also have to pass a civics test like those administered to new immigrants. So he has a ton of things. In addition, I believe he said that the United States should support Taiwan only until 2028, and on and on. So he's really out there, and I think in many respects, this shows his inexperience, since he would be the youngest president at 38 ever elected in this country. The youngest presidents were Teddy Roosevelt and John F. Kennedy in their 40s. And they also had some experience, Teddy Roosevelt and John F. Kennedy, wartime experience, political experience. Vivek Ramaswamy is a very accomplished business executive, but he's maybe not a politician. And also, maybe he's there to be the siphon for Trump. I'm not really sure.
All right, Mark, before you continue describing Ramaswamy for us, I just want you to know, I just wanted to know from you, having watched Vivek Ramaswamy, in your own view, how would you describe him?
Oh, he's an enormously charismatic individual. He has a very powerful political personality. I think he way up there in terms of persona. You know, maybe he would be a good vice presidential candidate, but he said he doesn't want to be. So the fact that he's stepping in right now, I think, is quite impressive. And I think he's potentially rising, but the reason is because of this Trump, DeSantis, and all the other candidates. As long as Trump is sitting there and Ramaswamy is supporting Trump, which is kind of an odd situation, it's unlikely any of those other candidates are going to advance. And maybe he's thinking, or they're thinking, that Trump will somehow be out of it, although we see that the more indictments come down, the more Trump becomes popular. So my description of him is very positive, except that I think in terms of his positions, I think he has to be careful in making statements, particularly about Taiwan and otherwise. We've seen that in American history where political leaders make statements that are interpreted by foreign leaders and even our adversaries, America's adversaries, and that is problematic. If you want to be president, I think sometimes you have to be circumspect, but the trick is what to say in the campaign to get ahead but not cause issues or difficulties for American foreign policy.
All right. 2024 is a long way ahead, so many changes might happen from now till then. So let's wait and see. Thank you very much, Mark Merowitz, for talking to us. He's a political commentator and also a professor at State University of New York Maritime College. Mark, thank you for talking to WION World is One today.
Thank you very much.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.